A rough winter may come with sickness. A Kentucky coal miner noticed at a basketball game, and Kate Blanchett stars in the new movie Tar. These stories and more coming up next on the NKU World Report. Welcome to the NKU World Report. I'm Lily Taylor. Health officials are issuing warnings to brace yourself for what they're calling a triple-demic. That's what they're calling a risk surging through of COVID, influenza, and RSV. It's already hit some schools and is threatening to go to overwhelming hospitals. Bruce Lishon has more.
The RSV was probably the scariest experience we've had as parents.
The Whelan-Slayton family in Southern Maryland has already been walloped, and little August has only been in daycare for 2 months.
His first week of daycare, he came home sick on Friday of week 1, and turned out he had RSV, which ended up becoming RSV and the flu, and also an ear infection. And, it just sort of spreads like wildfire. And every other week, we're sort of wondering, how do people do this?
At Stafford High School in Virginia, 1,000 students, half the student body, fell ill with flu-like gastrointestinal symptoms. The school newspaper blamed a homecoming dance that had more than 1,200 students corralled in the lunchroom. Innova hospitals have activated their emergency operations plan because of the strain from a surge of patients. At MedStar Montgomery Medical Center, pediatrician Sophia Tafari says the 2 beds for children are already double booked.
We are concerned that many of these children have not seen a lot of the viruses that they would have seen in the last couple of years. So we are bracing ourselves for a difficult winter for sure.
Doctors warn that COVID, the flu, RSV, and other rhino and enteroviruses could all skyrocket in the next few months, creating a kind of triple whammy or triple-demic.
All 3 of these viruses are expected to go up as we get into the typical cold and flu season. The weather gets colder, people start moving inside.
Experts say the best way to keep hospitals from getting overwhelmed is to get vaccinated for the flu and for COVID. If not for yourself, for the most vulnerable among us, like the second baby Darcy Whelan-Slayton is expecting.
And all I can think is, if it was so scary with the 18-month-old, I'm really worried about the new baby getting sick.
Police have finally identified the body of a little boy found in a suitcase months ago. Police allege Cairo Jordan was stuffed in the suitcase by his own mother. She is currently on the run. Shaquille Lord has the details of this horrific case.
Since April, investigators have worked tirelessly to identify the little boy found dead inside a suitcase in rural Washington County, Indiana. On Wednesday, Indiana State Police could finally do just that, identifying him as Cairo Jordan.
He was 5 years old at the time of his death, and Cairo would have turned 6 this past Monday on October 24th.
An autopsy found Jordan died from an electrolyte imbalance as a result of a stomach bug. His mother, 37-year-old DeJuan Anderson, is facing several charges, including murder. Another woman, 40-year-old Dawn Coleman, is also facing charges and is in custody in California.
It's a bittersweet day, bitter because no matter what progress is made, what happens in a case, we're still dealing with the tragic death of a precious young child.
According to a probable cause affidavit, fingerprints found on a trash bag used to wrap the boy's body matched the 2 women.
I want to emphasize that no crime scene evidence technologies were spared in this case, in this investigation by the Indiana State Police.
Anderson has a criminal history. Earlier this year, she was arrested in South Carolina, charged with child endangerment for leading troopers on a high-speed chase with her child in the car. A few weeks later, LMPD arrested her on robbery charges at Oxmoor Center. The affidavit also points out chilling Facebook messages Anderson posted, referring to her son as a demonic child and talking about an exorcism. Then, on April 14th, investigators say cell phone towers and a home security camera placed Anderson and Coleman in Pecan, Indiana, near the wooded area where Jordan's body was found.
This whole case is all about justice for Cairo. That's the only thing this case has ever been about.
With thousands of tips pouring in at the start of this case, Hull says the public's help is needed now more than ever to track down Anderson.
We can use help locating her. So for Cairo, help us locate her for Cairo so justice can be served for him.
Kanye West has officially lost his billionaire status. According to Forbes, this comes after Adidas cut ties with the rapper, following anti-Semitic remarks. Other companies have also dropped West, including Gap and Foot Locker. CNN's Brian Todd looks at whether this could be the beginning of West's fall from grace.
In recent days, Kanye West said this on a podcast.
The thing about it, me and Adidas, is like, I could literally say anti-Semitic and they can't drop me.
Now, the German sportswear giant has indeed dropped West, who now goes by the name Ye. Adidas has partnered with him for 9 years. His line of sneakers with them was hugely successful. And Adidas says it will take a hit of more than $240 million to its fourth quarter sales by cutting ties.
I wish it had happened sooner, but this does send a strong statement that there are consequences when you express anti-Semitism and any form of hate.
On October 8th, West tweeted he was, quote, going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. His Twitter and Instagram accounts were locked. He's since been abandoned by The Gap, Vogue, the fashion house Balenciaga, and his powerful agents CAA. For a man who's won 24 Grammy Awards and has been a trend-setting fashion mogul, how big a fall from grace is this?
0 to 10, this is 11. It's as extreme as it gets. And the real problem is that he's crossed over a moral line through hate speech and anti-Semitism.
Observers say one danger with West's public remarks is that his audience is young and impressionable. Another is the current political and social climate in America.
He's using this platform in the context of a post-2020 America with everything that we know that's going on in terms of hate crimes, in terms of anti-Semitism, in terms of racism. So we're in a climate right now that's very, very tense.
In recent days, a group of demonstrators appeared to show support for West's anti-Semitic remarks by hanging banners from a freeway overpass near LA.
It was a dangerous thing for Kanye to do at a time when the danger facing Jewish people is all too real.
This post by Jerry Seinfeld's wife Jessica getting hundreds of thousands of likes and shares online. But West's actions go beyond upsetting the Jewish community. He recently wore a White Lives Matter t-shirt at a Paris runway show. He suggested that George Floyd died from a fentanyl overdose rather than police brutality. Can West reverse any of this and make a comeback? The apology tour hasn't been convincing. He recently told an interviewer he was sorry for the hurt that the DEFCON tweet caused, but wasn't sorry he said it. His ex-wife, Kim Kardashian, just issued a statement criticizing hate speech, but only after she was called out for not addressing West's behavior earlier. One damage control expert says this.
If these are his real thoughts, there's really no coming back from this. If these thoughts are the result of a mental health condition, I think that is a mitigating fact.
There is speculation that West's behavior could be related to mental illness. He himself has previously acknowledged a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, but he's also cast some doubt on that. Brian Todd, CNN, Washington.
Now over to Kennedy to take a look at sports.
The University of Kentucky men's basketball team noticed a coal miner when he showed up to be with his family straight after work, and is slapping a new sport on the rise. This and more after the break.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back. I'm Kennedy Durbin with today's Sports Report. Many of us have had to rush away from work to be somewhere, often showing up in our work clothes. A Kentucky man did just that and ended up going viral. Chad Hedrick has the heartwarming story.
For many families, it's more than just a basketball game. It's about making memories that will last a lifetime.
I was really excited to make all these memories with my kids and my wife.
Kentucky's blue and white game in Pikeville Saturday gave Michael McGuire that opportunity. While most of the fans were in their Kentucky blue, Michael was in his work clothes and covered in coal dust, having gone from the coal mines straight to the game to be with his family.
It was pretty much either come straight there or miss half the game going home to take a shower and everything.
Michael wanted to be there as his son Easton experienced his first Kentucky basketball game and take in every moment.
Oh, he had a blast. He was dancing, and every time they would slam dunk it, he would go crazy.
You can see the McGuires several times during the game's broadcast, but it was this picture that caught the attention of Kentucky men's basketball coach John Calipari, who shared it on social media looking to identify McGuire and offer VIP tickets to a game this season. The photo went viral while Michael was underground working.
When I got out and got service on my way home, it went crazy. Couldn't believe that it was real.
For Michael, he's overwhelmed and humbled by the way Big Blue Nation rallied to find him, and little Easton is loving it.
He's jumping up and down. He's very excited.
Michael talked to Coach Cal Monday evening.
It was awesome. He's really down to earth.
It'll be Easton's first game at Rupp Arena and just the second for Michael, giving this lifelong Kentucky fan another special memory with his family.
It's mind-blowing that everybody come together like that.
It's the kind of activity that might make you wince or even give you chills. Slap fighting is becoming hugely popular around the country. And now some places in Las Vegas will soon let people bet on this growing sport. Kristen Drummond explains.
Here's your windup. 2, 3. Oh, and Frank with a big shot.
A viral hit.
Wow.
Going mainstream.
I think that's absolutely cool.
Looks like you have to have a pretty thick neck to be able to withstand this.
Various reactions to scene slap fighting, a growing underground sport finding popularity the last few years on social media and a source of entertainment for LaRae Williams.
TikTok, Instagram, you know, just scrolling, they always have them, but it's mostly like in other countries.
But not anymore. The Nevada State Athletic Commission unanimously approved to allow sanctioned slap fights in the state.
So hopefully we'll be the first to regulate this, and hopefully other jurisdictions and other communities, states, and countries will do the same.
But the knockout point for Chairman Stephen Klubeck, fighter safety. The state's involvement maintains a focus of health and matchmaking integrity like weight classes.
It'll mimic pretty much UFC or MMA with professionals that have been in this sector before, so we're comfortable with the promoters.
Looking at it seems kind of ridiculous to me.
But fun?
Would be fun to watch.
And possibly bet on. In a statement, the Nevada Gaming Control Board tells me it does not issue a specific approval for wagers to be accepted on a new sporting event or league, so an event can typically be wagered on as long as it meets the general criteria set forth in the regulations. That means it's up to the licensed sports books. Looking at permitted wagers, this type of competition falls under the rules.
I think that'll be a good sport to have out here.
Leaving Williams anticipating when she can attend an in-person match.
Yep, I'll be there in the crowd. I won't be getting slapped though, that's what I won't be doing.
Now back to Lily at the news desk.
A new international survey shows that most people in 7 countries, including the United States, say they feel socially connected as COVID-19 precautions ease. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on the findings and why social connections are so important to our health.
At the height of the pandemic, with businesses shut down and people shut in, staying connected to others may not have been easy.
Human connection, it's wired into our DNA.
But a new survey by Gallup and Facebook's parent company Meta, conducted in 7 countries between April and June, shows most people feel a sense of social connection as the world eases COVID-19 precautions. In the U.S., 75% who took part said they feel very or fairly emotionally connected to others.
There's a need for us to be connected, but it does look like the pandemic did not disrupt that we are able to adapt as a species and continue that important connection.
However, at least a third of those who took part in each country said they needed support or help from someone often or sometimes in the previous month. In the U.S., 71% of those surveyed said they'd interacted in person at least once a day over the previous week, while 68% connected via text and 59% interacted over the phone.
Those who were over 65 and had a bigger social group or a bigger friend group, that tended to be associated with feeling less lonely.
As did being married and being financially stable. People who reported living comfortably felt that they had more social support than those who were finding it difficult on their current income. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now let's take a look at entertainment with Curtis.
Marvel is starting Phase 5 of their cinematic universe with a new Ant-Man movie, and Cate Blanchett stars in a new movie coming out on October 28th. This and more after the break.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Welcome back. I'm Curtis with your entertainment report. Two-time Academy Award winner Cate Blanchett is back in the Oscar conversation, as is her latest film. David Daniel has a look.
Time is the thing. Time is the essential piece of interpretation. You cannot start without me. I start the clock.
Cate Blanchett plays a legendary and powerful orchestra conductor in Tar.
You want to dance the mask, you must service the composer. You gotta supplement yourself, your ego, and yes, your identity.
Blanchett had to learn conducting and make it look second nature.
That's her stock in trade, and it's not something she even thinks about. And so I couldn't be thinking about those things as an actor. It just had to be.
Co-star Nina Haas worked hard to gain the respect of the musicians.
You are for 2 weeks part of this body, this ensemble of an orchestra, and you are sitting in the first chair, which is, and I didn't know that, I must admit, such a powerful position in the orchestra.
While Sophie Kauer, a musician in her film debut, was surprised at the limited amount of rehearsal time.
I think it's been actually really good for me as a musician. It's made kind of playing concerts a luxury.
Writer-director Todd Field says the film arose from questions he'd been pondering for years.
How we define power and how power is divided and how power is wielded and used from the bottom of the pyramid to the top of the pyramid.
As much as it is about, the corrupting nature of power, I think it's what happens when we deny our history. And it catches up with us. You must, in fact, stand in front of the public and God and obliterate yourself.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Not so well.
Marvel is ready to kick off Phase 5 of its cinematic universe, and it begins back in the quantum realm. David Daniel has that and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
It's a secret universe beneath ours. What are you so afraid of? There's something I never told you.
This place, it isn't what you think.
The first trailer is out for Marvel's Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly return, along with Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer. We also get Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror and a glimpse of Bill Murray. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania hits the big screen February 17th. The stars came out in Beverly Hills for the inaugural The Griot Awards, celebrating African-American icons, leaders, and legends. Honorees included Patti LaBelle, who received the Music Icon Award, Queen Latifah, the Television Icon Award, Olympic champion Allison Felix, the Sports Icon Award, and Jennifer Hudson, the Trailblazer Icon Award. The show will be broadcast on The Griot and other Allen Media Group platforms later this year. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Now back to Lily for a final check at the news desk.
As a deforestation crisis reaches its breaking point in America, officials roll out a massive and ambitious plan to replant more than 1 billion new trees across the nation. But how exactly do they plan to tackle this monumental environmental task? Here's a hint. It involves you. Jeremy Roth explains.
The annual arrival of autumn colors across the land is a reminder not only of the living beauty of America's forests, but also the vulnerability of this natural resource, which now more than ever is fighting for its very survival. Wildfires are responsible for the destruction of millions of acres of forested land in the U.S. It's a problem that David Lytle of the U.S. Forest Service says has reached a breaking point.
We are facing a wildfire crisis in the U.S. Wildfires are growing in both size and intensity. They're becoming more difficult to fight, and as a result of wildfires and our limited resources, we end up with a backlog of about 5 million acres of land on National Forest System lands that are in need of reforestation.
Now, seeds of hope in the form of federal legislation called the Replant Act that couldn't have come at a more pivotal time. The bipartisan act not only delivers a much-needed infusion of funds and resources, but also sets an ambitious goal of planting and regenerating more than 1 billion new trees on U.S. soil over the next decade.
Replant has been a game changer and is really going to allow us to address the wildland fire risk issues, to address climate change, and to address our reforestation backlog.
But more than 1 billion trees? How exactly is a monumental task like that executed?
We will be expanding our operations, hiring new people, and doing more work on the ground. Moving forward is going to take collaboration, cooperation, and partnership.
So what can the rest of us do to help?
You can plant a tree in your own yard. You can work with your community to help plant trees in communities. You can work with nonprofit organizations. You can volunteer. All of us have a role to play in reforestation.
I'm Jeremy Roth, reporting.
Thanks for watching the World Report, and as always, stay classy, NKU.